couple of classes we were discussing about the vulnerability identification and exploitation, right? I've shown you a couple of examples. How do we actually uh, manually identify the vulnerabilities, and how do we do the research for the exploitation part, or with the help of an automated tool which can basically give you the straightforward reports for us, right? So that is one of the way attackers will basically play with it. Then I've shown you another method, like where you can basically able to create a payload. Okay, then you can send that payload to the victim system and make him to interact with it. Okay, if in case if he is interacting with it, okay, it's gonna give the connection back for us, right? And today we are gonna discuss about the another method of penetrating or entering into the device. That is password cracking technique. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, first of all, let me give you the theoretical knowledge on password cracking first. Okay, so what is password cracking? Okay, so password cracking is basically a method which an attackers will be using to not attackers. It's just a simple method to basically use to recover the password. Let's say you forgot it, okay, and when you want to recover it, okay, so in that case, so we'll be using password cracking techniques. So attacker will misuse this password cracking techniques to gain the unauthorized access over the devices. And most of the password cracking techniques will only work, okay, when they use any easy guessable password, right? If in case if you're using very strong password, even it's very difficult for an attacker to you know guess it or brute force it, or you know uh, find the right word list to crack it, right? So here we have four different types of techniques. Okay, uh, basically these are four different types of attack vectors and types, okay, which an attackers will be using to gain the passwords, right? So first one will be non-technical attack. First one will be non-technical attack. So when I say non-technical attack, so here the attacker will not possess any kind of a technical knowledge, okay, or he'll be not having any kind of a knowledge on tools and etc. Okay. So how will be gathering then, if in case if we don't have any kind of a technical knowledge? So we'll be just doing shoulder surfing, okay, or dumpster diving, or with the help of social engineering techniques. So what is mean by shoulder surfing? Okay, what is mean by shoulder surfing? So shoulder surfing is something where the attacker will be standing, okay, uh, backside of the person where he is entering the password. Okay, let's say uh, you might be aware about it. Let's say you and your colleague, both are sitting next to you. Okay, and all of a sudden, let's say while you're entering your password, okay, if somebody is observing that password from the backside, okay, so that is basically shoulder surfing, right? Most of the time, it will happen in the ATMs, right? So everybody will stand in the queue like one by one, and easily we can able to see the passwords, and that's the reason even nowadays if you see the ATMs, okay, so they're basically they are covering the keystrokes, right? So to basically prevent the shoulder surfing attacks, and they're not allowing, okay, inside whenever if some person is doing any kind of a transaction over there. And next thing is dumpster diving. Okay, dumpster diving is nothing but looking into trash box or trash bin. Most of the people, whenever they get any kind of a sensitive email, or whenever they get ATM pins, or any kind of a sensitive details, they'll delete it, and that will goes and store in the trash bin. Or many people, they will just write all the passwords in a sticky notes. Okay, so just looking into those kind of areas, okay, to get the passwords. Then social engineering. Okay, social engineering is nothing but like convincing the people to reveal some kind of a sensitive information, like it could be credentials or it could be any kind of a sensitive information belongs to them. Okay, just to go ahead, go to them, start impersonating XYZ person, and just try to ask the sensitive details and check whether he can able to provide you or not, right? So we have even a separate module on this social engineering attacks. Okay, we might, we'll be discussing that over there. Okay, so these are all the some of the non-technical attacks which they'll be using to get the password. Even if they didn't get any passwords over there, but if in case if they get any kind of a clues, in a sense, let's say while he's entering the password, let's say I saw that he's just using numbers, okay, or he's just using right hand keystrokes, or let's say his password length. Let's say if you have any kind of a clue, okay, while you're doing shoulder surfing or something like that, okay, or dumpster diving, so attacker can able to generate, okay, the customized word list according to the information what he has gained, okay, over this non-technical attacks, right? Hope these three terminologies are clear. Okay, if not, please just let me know.
So can you just explain shoulder surfing once again?
Okay, you see this here over the image. She's entering the password, and this guy is just watching it. See, this guy is entering the password, and this guy is watching. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah, this is basically the social shoulder surfing. Let's say somebody is entering the password and somebody is watching, behind them. Is basically what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this is common. Okay, and let's jump into the second type of password cracking attacks, which we also deals with when we are doing any kind of an assessments or penetration testing. That is active online attacks. When I say active, first of all, attacker will directly communicate with the target. Attacker will directly communicate with the target, and online attacks. Okay, directly he will communicate with the target to verify, okay, whether it's the right password or a wrong password. In a sense, let's say I have few passwords with me, okay, few usernames and few passwords. So what I'll do, I'll go to the website, I'll enter the username, and I'll enter the password over there, right? So what will happen? You are directly communicating with them, and you are just verifying it whether it's the right password or wrong password. Correct? That is basically active online attack. Okay. So here, the attacker will basically first, he will start this attack, with the help of default passwords. As we know, most of the products will come with the default usernames and default passwords, right? Let's say Kali Linux operating system, the username and password would be root and tour. Okay, and Kali, the latest version is Kali and Kali, and some of the products like they'll just keep administrator, they'll just keep admin, right? Or if you take any product, let's say when you have done the information gathering, you got some information, okay, about the their infrastructure. So you can simply visit this kind of a place like defaultpasswords.com. Okay. So here you'll get all the default passwords. Okay, uh, all the default passwords of all the products. Okay, so it's a file. Maybe let's. It might be not working. Okay, let's go to another website, which is basically CIRT.net. Okay, if you go to CIRT.net, here you'll be having a default password database. Okay, here you can search with your, vendor, like whatever the vendor you got it. Okay, you can just search with them. Okay, let's say Cisco or Checkpoint. Let's say I'll go with the Checkpoint. Okay, so you can see all the different products. Okay, the versions along with the user ID and password. So if in case if they are not changing the passwords, okay, if they are just using the default password, so attacker will easily able to manage to get into it. Okay.
So I can log in to their websites or something because it's a default admin and password.
Yeah, if in case if they use that.
Okay.
See, first of all, when I want to break it, so attacker will first he'll go with the default passwords. He'll check, okay, whether they have changed the password or not. Because most of the people they'll not change the passwords. They'll just keep using the same password. Okay, defaultly. Maybe uh, you know uh, how many of you change your router passwords? You'll be having your own routers right in your home. So what's your router password, username and password? Admin, right? Most of the cases. Yeah, of course. If I got to know, yeah, right. So if I got to know what is your IP address, so from here also I can able to log in into your router. Okay. So first of all, they'll try with the default passwords. Okay. Then, okay, there are a couple of databases like one which is posted in the chat, and here is the one like CART.net, and there are many. Okay, if you just Google it, you will come to know, right? So they'll search in this kind of a databases to get the default passwords, and they'll check if it is working or not. If it is not working, then they'll start guessing. Okay, they'll start guessing the passwords. So the guessing could be like uh, with the phone number, or you know the name, the kid's name, or whatever it is. They start guessing it, or they'll prioritize it. Then they'll start using it. Okay. Otherwise, they'll just go with the some of the commonly used passwords. So what is this commonly used passwords? Okay, if you go to GitHub, okay, if you go to GitHub and if you just type, some of the commonly used password, let's say 1,000. Okay, if you just go with this word list, okay, if you just go with this repository, which I'll be posting over here in the chat box, there is a repository called checklist. Okay, under the checklist we have passwords. Under the passwords we have common credentials. So here is a 10 million passwords. Okay, here. So even they will use this kind of a commonly used passwords to check, if they are using anything from it. If they are using anything from it. Okay, here is a passwords. Even we have leaked database passwords also, right? You can see 00 web host passwords are there directly, right? You can see rocky.txt files are there. Hotmail, okay, Adobe, Node. So let's say some of them are uh, registered over here. Let's say the attacker is also registered over here, and his password is also here. And when I use this, okay, password list, I may able to log in whenever that particular password matches. So I'll be automating this entire thing. Let's say I'll just go ahead and get the passwords, okay, from here. So once I get this all the passwords, I load this all the passwords into, okay, a password cracking tool, okay, which where we can automate this process. In a sense, it will just submit your first username, okay, with the password, second username with the password. We have a couple of tools where you can automate this. So, okay, at a certain point, if something is matching, yeah, of course, we can able to get into the system or account, right? Otherwise, even you can use a dictionary attack. So dictionary attack is also same. So here attacker will be using a dictionary words. Okay, so those dictionary words he'll be using into a tool, which can basically check with one by one and one by one. Okay, so if these all the techniques are not working, okay, then he'll finally go with the brute force attack. So what is this brute force attack?
So how much time
Yeah,
it will
Kalyan.
take to check those 10 million passwords?
It depending on your CPU performance.
Within these 10 million passwords, will any password will match for any account?
We can't assure that, okay, because if they are changing their password, okay, we can't get it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the first point to success this password cracking attack is, okay, it depending on what type of password they are using. So let me take you to a website where you can check the password complexity. Okay, password complexity checker. Let's see. From the Kaspersky. Kaspersky password complex checker. Yeah. So let me open this. Okay. So here you can just put your password. Let's say my password is only numbers. Okay. The number would be, it's a 6 digits. Even we have something called hash injection attack. Okay, what is this hash injection attack is? So before going to the hash injection attack, what is hash? Okay, it is just a value. Okay, it's just a value which will be produced when you give the input into a hashing algorithm. And let's say this is my password, okay, which I am using. Okay, so my password will not store in the database as it is, because once the database is got breached, so attacker will get all the clear text passwords. It's very easy for him to enter into anyone's accounts. Okay, with the help of these all the clear text passwords. So the best security practice or standard I can say is, okay, so everybody will just keep their users passwords in a secure way, okay, by hashing them. So let's say this is the hash value of this particular password. Okay, or let's say if any internal employee or if any attacker able to breach the organization, only he can able to get the hashes. Okay, so with the help of hash, and again he has to crack it.
I'm sorry to
Okay, with the help of
interrupt.
hash, and again he has to.
Yeah, can I know who is HP? Can you kindly mention your name? In the list, I'm seeing somebody by name HP.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Let's continue.
So yeah, guys, like whenever you guys are logged in, okay, into GoToMeeting, just mention your name so that it'll be easy for us to track who is logged in. Okay, because in the backend we'll be maintaining your attendance and other stuff. Okay, just follow the same thing, right? Yeah. So you know, so here in the hash injection attack, okay, so attacker instead of uh, cracking the password, okay, he will try to get this hash by performing the different attacks. So after getting this hash, okay, instead of sending the password to the server, he'll just try to send the hash. If in case if the server is accepting it, okay, the server itself will decrypt it and the user will allow to log in, right? So when I say hash injection, attacker, like instead of giving the password to the server, he will gather the hash, okay, and he will just send this hash to the server, and he will check if the server is accepting or not. Okay, if the server is accepting, that's fine, the attacker can able to log in into it. If the server is not accepting, it means that it is secure from the hash injection attacks, right? Then we have another active online attack. The last one is with the help of malwares. Okay, let's say I have already infected the system and I have the access and I install the keyloggers, trojans, or spywares, or any kind of a malware. Okay, which basically help us to monitor their user activities. From there also they can able to get the passwords. Hope I have shown you how the keyloggers will work. Okay, with the help of a metapreter payload, right? It is also the very similar way. Okay, how Trojan and spyware can also able to do it. So these are also some of the active online attacks where he'll be performing to uh, directly with the target to get the or to confirm the passwords, right?
Will we
So any doubts here? Yeah, I'll be showing the practicals. So before going to the practicals, so, I'll be just giving you theoretical knowledge.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Then we have passive online attacks. Okay, when I say passive online attacks, there will be no interaction with the target. Okay, so how we'll be gathering it is when the passwords are traveling in the air or when the passwords are traveling in the wire. Okay, because whenever you enter something in any website, what will happen? The passwords will travel, okay, into the network, right? With some packets. So attacker will basically start capturing those packets, okay, while it is in the travel. Okay, so that is basically called as a sniffing attack. Sniffing is basically capturing all the packets, okay, while traveling to the server, okay, with the help of some, uh, software, or, with the help of some hardware. I think you might be aware about the tapping, like phone tapping. Have you heard about it? Like most of the times, like, uh, these keywords are, these keywords like tapping, like they'll be listening unauthorized conversation of somebody else in the mobile phone. Let's say, we both are having the communication, and if somebody is tapping it, okay, they can able to listen, or they can able to intercept our communication. Okay, most of the movies, they'll be showing you how the tapping can be done, right? It is similar to that, but it is wiretapping in a sense, while two people are communicating, okay, on wide network. So we are just, diverting all the packets. It's very similar to that, right? And we have man in the middle attack, okay, where, you know, when the two persons are communicating, okay, like, XYZ two persons are communication, X and Y. Okay. So here the communication will be like this, right? But attacker will sit in the middle, and he will divert all the traffic from, okay, the, X system to the attacker system, and he will send it to a Y system. He'll be just, sitting in the middle, and whatever the communication is happening in between these two systems can be, okay, controlled or monitored by the attacker. So this is man in the middle attack. Even we'll see this, because when you're doing man in the middle attack, let's say this guy is sharing the passwords. So attacker can also get the passwords, right? Let's say he's entering the credentials, like, uh, whatever it is, you know, credit card numbers or debit card numbers, whatever the sensitive details he'll be entering. So attacker can also able to get that, right? So this is the man in the middle attack. I'll show you this how do we do it practically, right? Then we have offline attacks. So offline attacks, in a sense, they'll be collecting the hashes. So once they collect the hashes, and it'll take some time, right? As we saw, to crack, XYZ hash or password, it's taking 4 years. Okay, not all the time it will take 4 years. It might take sometimes week or 2 weeks, or, other things also. Okay. So, so in that case, he will be just gathering the password, and he'll try to crack it in a offline. So once you get the password, okay, then again he'll be going with the right password to, gain the unauthorized access. Okay, so we'll discuss what all the things practically. Okay, even we'll discuss, different types of sniffing techniques, and, some of the live examples for spoofing also. Okay, so let's get started with the practicals. Okay, if you guys are clear with the theoreticals.
So what is exactly the brute force attack?
That's what, like, brute force is, generating all the permutations and combinations of the password. Okay, and, just checking with one by one. Let's say it'll start with A, next B, C, D, Z.
Like creating our
Then
own password just like that, sir.
yeah, of course, you can create your own password list, and you can brute force it, or you can just mention the, what are the keywords, okay, needs to be brute forced or generated the, combinations. It will be doing it.
Yeah, okay, sir. So
Okay.
can you just after the class, can you just post that text in the chat box so that we can
Yeah, yeah.
learn.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll
Thank
just
you.
post it now itself. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Just So let's do the practicals. So first of all, uh, to perform these password cracking attacks, what we required a good word list. Okay, the word list can be, the word list is something where you'll be having all the uh, you know password list or username list, okay, which we'll be using. And in the Kali, we have a very famous word list called rocky.txt. Okay, so most of the time they'll be using this rocky.txt or they'll be using this sect list. Okay, just now where we went. This is the one. Okay, sect list repository. The passwords. Default passwords, common passwords, Bible passwords like leak database, malware, software, Wi-Fi, WPA, WP passwords. I have so many different types of password list. Okay, you can directly come here and take the password list. Okay, otherwise, you can go to this particular location, okay, in the Kali, okay, or you can able to get it, right? Otherwise, let's say I don't want to go with this. I want to generate my own in a word list. Then we have the tools, okay, which is Crunch. Okay, Crunch is a very helpful tool when you wanted to generate your word list. When you want to generate your own word list. So let's first of all let's go to my virtual box. Okay, let's just start my Kali. Okay, along with that, let me start my Ubuntu also. So this time I'll be using my Ubuntu as my target. Okay, then I'll be attacking on it. Okay. Mm.
So 2 days back, you have stored one attack on Windows 7. So I have tried the same method. So you have shown that hacking attack into the Windows 7 from Bad Blue previous
Mm.
class. So I have tried the same method
Yeah,
regarding with the Bad Blue, but in SS also it's not showing. So it's showing 0. It's critical. So
we'll
it's
see that.
totally blue.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, just a minute.
Are you
Okay.
able to hear anything?
Yeah, just wait. Okay. I, okay. Yeah, my systems are like running. Mm. Yeah. So we have the Kali, okay, which is up and running. So first of all, let me show you where you can able to find the password, word list. So here we have password attacks, right? Under the password attacks, here you have word list. Can you see this?
Yes.
So once you click the word list, okay, here we will be having all the uh, word list belongs to the some various tools, like we have the word list border, Buster, and Fast Track, Fairin Wi-Fi, Metasploit, and Map, then RockU.txt, and this is the one, okay, which I was talking about, right? Otherwise, you can directly enter into this particular location, okay, user share word list. So under that, you'll be having the RockU.txt one, right? So you can use this word list, or you can download it from somewhere else, or you can create your own with the help of the Crunch. Okay, I have the Crunch. So let's let's first help you with the Crunch. Okay, so just to use Crunch, it's already pre-installed. Okay, in every Kali Linux operating system, and once you hit the enter, okay, it'll tell you, Crunch can create a word list based upon criteria you specify. Okay, and the output from the Crunch can be sent to screen or a file or to another program. And how do we use it? Okay, here is a usage for it. Okay, then you can just simply use Crunch. Okay, wherein minimum, okay, and maximum are number. That is the length of the password. Then the options, you can just mention, using which words. Okay, it should generate the permutations and combinations in between this minimum and maximum. So let's say, simple thing. Let's say I'm just using Crunch. Okay, let's say minimum and maximum length of the password is 4 to 6 digits. Okay, and here you can give, even you can give 8 to 8 or 8 to 10. Okay, but this is a virtual system. Okay, we'll be not having enough space to store, so many word list, because it's going to generate so much data, right? So just show you a simple example how this program can basically help us to generate our customized word list. Okay, so Crunch, and then let's say 5 to 6 digits my password length, and which has numbers, okay, or alphabets, or whatever it, okay, whatever it, you can just specify it. Okay, then you take the output into a file, let's say pass file .txt. So it's just gonna generate, okay, permutations and combinations of these all the words, okay, these all the characters, okay, in between 5 to 6, okay, and it's just gonna create a how many lines, maybe more than 1,21,50,000. Okay, and the file size would be 80 MB. Okay, 80 MB. So here in this case, okay, so attacker will be just using like 8 to 10 with all the characters in the keyboard. That would be somewhere around, in GBs. The password file would be somewhere around GBs. And you don't try this, your system will get crashed, because this is a virtual system where you don't have enough space to store it, right? So now it's already generated, it's created. Okay, maybe if I just use cat and pass file .txt, you can see all the permutations and combinations which are stored in that file, just started or getting opening over there. right? I've just cancelled it because it's a very huge file. Okay, having so many, okay, list of combinations, right?
So this list, we will use it where?
We will use it with the tools, okay, where you want to try or check or crack it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll show you that how do we use it. Okay, or let's say you have see, to crack this absolutely it's gonna take huge time, right? Okay, huge time, because there are passwords in the lakhs or crores, not in the lakhs, right? So if you start using it, okay, it's it's basically gonna check with the one by one, right? So you just assume how much time it's gonna take for this 1 crore passwords to crack it. It's totally depending on your network performance and their network performance and our CPU performance also. When you want to crack it offline, the CPU should be good. But when you want to crack online, directly communicating with them, so network should be, well, right? So what I'll do, uh, to show you, how this attacks will work practically, I have my Ubuntu system over here. I have my Ubuntu, and you might be aware about, like, most of the people, they will use their Ubuntu like servers, like to host some websites or to host some some kind of a servers, right? So let's say this is a server, okay, where I have enabled, or I have running two servers, like one is FTP server and one is SSH server. Okay, so you will be very much aware, like, what is FTP. FTP is a file transfer, right? SSH is also the same thing, but it's you can do it in a secure way, right? So we have these two, SSH and FTP, which are running in the system. Even you can install it, okay, if you have your own server. Okay, so this server is running in my local host, okay, like local virtual environment. Okay, so even you can install your own one, like, let's say, maybe first, let's take the admin access, okay, root access, and you can install your own server, like apt-get install, open SSH. Okay, you can install the open SSH. Okay, unable to locate it, or simple SSH. Yeah, it's already installed, right? It's already available. Similar way, even you can install any kind of FTP server, like apt-get install, let's say VSFTPD. Okay, you can see I'm just installing the FTP server over here, right? Yeah. So FTP is open. Then let's just start, these servers, like service SSH start, then service, okay, VSFTPD start, right? Then what is the IP address of this? It's a 43.51. Okay, so let's say this is a web server, or this is some kind of a server which is hosted and running. An attacker got the IP address. Now he'll be just perform scan over here. Okay, he'll just perform the Nmap scan on the like he would have done all that information gathering. Okay, and you can see the two ports are open. Okay, so what is FTP is open and SSH is also open. So let's do the same thing with version detection, and let's see if these versions are being disclosed. You can see first one is running VSFTPD 3.0.3 because we installed the VSFTPD server, and next one is OpenSSH, okay, 7.6 P1 on Ubuntu system, right? So let's say these two ports are open for transferring the files from local system to server. Okay. Now, if I want to log into the servers, so what I'll be doing, I need a client, right? I need a client. Let's say we'll be having something called Putty. Are you aware about it? Putty.
Something like
How
remote
many of
desktop.
you are aware about it? Kind of like you can take, Putty is basically, you can see uh, a free implementation of SSH and Telnet. Okay, basically you can use this software as a client to connect with any kind of a server like SSH or FTP servers. Even similar to that, in Kali also we have the servers like we have this client software like it's a CLI, quite simple. You can just use FTP. Okay, then it'll ask you to enter the IP address where you want to connect, or you can just use OpenSSH. Okay, it'll ask you to basically where you want to connect. So you need a client basically to connect with the server, right? So let me show you. Let me just like connect FTP, okay, with a client. Okay, and you can see it's asking username. It's asking username. So the username, let's say they're using default passwords, like let's say root. Let's say password is store. Login is incorrect. Login is incorrect. And next time we'll try with the different one. Like let's say Kali. Let's say I'm just trying with the default passwords. Okay, and I felt that these guys are not using any default passwords. Then I'll be going with some word list. Okay, or otherwise I'll be just guessing it. Okay, I'll be creating my own word list. Okay, then what I'll be doing, I'll be using those all the word list into a tool where it can automate this all the process. In a sense, here every time I have to check with one username and one password. And it's so much manual thing, right? So to avoid this all the stuff, okay, where I can able to automate this all the process, what I'll be doing, I'll be using a password cracking tool called Hydra. I'll be using a password cracking tool called Hydra. Okay, so I'll just give 5 minutes break over here. Okay, can you just go through this entire uh, entire output?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I'll just give 5 minutes output. Then after that, we'll discuss about the Hydra, about the other tools which can help us to perform the password cracking attack on the uh, Ubuntu server, and I'll show you how do we crack it. Before that, just go through this all the options, okay, and just go through this. Okay, so I'll be back by 12:15. Okay, so let's continue from 12:15. Okay. Hey, hi all, I'm back.
I
Uh, Guys, are you back?
yes. So how to install that
Yes, sir.
FTP server in Windows?
Uh, you can just check it out. Okay, there are so many resources which are available. Okay, basically, I'll suggest you to go with the Windows Server.
2019 version, or 2016?
Anything is fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah. So hope everyone are back. Just can just let me know that how many of you are back.
I'm back.
I'm back.
Back.
Okay. Okay. Good. So
Back.
so what do you understand by reading this?
We can give the file, like if we use -c with Hydra command, we can like specify a file where we can like write login and password, and it will search one by one.
Of course, correct. So this tool will basically automate our password cracking way, right? It will just check with usernames and password according to our input, which we are giving into this tool. And this tool, okay, there are other tools also, like we have something called Medusa also. Okay, Medusa. What happened? Yeah. Medusa, which is similar to it. Okay, which is similar to it. But I'll just basically encourage you to go with the Hydra. I, I'll tell you why. Okay. So first of all, let's use this Hydra tool. Before using this Hydra tool, uh, so what I'll be doing is I'll try to create my own word list, because I don't want to go with the very, very huge word list, and I don't want you guys to wait until it's get completed. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just first sorry, I'll just first create my own word list. Okay. So that would be like cd. Let's say I'm just creating a directory here. Make directory. Let's say p. Let's go to the p. I'll be just creating something, word list with the help of text editor. Very slow. Let me. Mouse pad, and I'll be creating username list. Okay, usernames.txt, and here I'll be just using some of the common usernames like admin, guest, root, tour. Okay, what else? User. Like this. This is just for an example of list of usernames. Okay, so here, what else we have? Kali, or anything, anything you can give. Just save this. Okay, just save this. This is just a file, for an example, which we are taking to give an input into the tool. Then similarly, you can create another one, which is password passwords dot txt, or you can use something else also. Okay, that could be also fine. Use same thing like Kali root or tour administrator, guest user, something like that. Then save it. At it. So here we got all the usernames and passwords, right? Right. So now what I'll be doing is I'll be just using these tools like Hydra and Medusa. Okay. So here are the options. Like it's not like you have to use those tools like wordless mandatory. When you know the username and when you want to, just use that username. Okay, and when you want to use, get the passwords. Even you can combine that. Like, let's say you know the username, you can mention hyphen small l. Okay, then you can use password list. Okay, that is capital P. Right. Even sometimes, uh, the username and password will be going with the colon separated. Okay, in that case, you can use -c, right? Even like we have many things, like even you can mention the different types of servers over here. Okay, even you can mention the tasks. Okay, the number of connections to the target. It will be default is 16, but most of the servers are configured like 4, 8, to restrict this kind of an attacks. Similar to that, we have different types of service modules, okay, and help, servers, service, and OTPs and other stuff. And these are all the
So
services
server,
which,
yes.
yeah,
So server in the sense it can be domain also, any domain.
yeah, you can see.
Facebook, Instagram, like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Services is basically the protocol where you are trying to attack. Okay. So here are the different, supported services by the Hydra. And we are going to crack now is FTP and SSH, right? Let's just check whether the FTP and SSH is there. We have SSH and we have FTP2, right? There is FTP. I'm not able to find it. See, we have almost all the services like XAMPP, VMC, okay,
It's on first
XAMPP,
line.
VMC. Yeah, maybe it's on first line. Here is FTP, right? So we have many services where we can able to crack this. Okay, and here, okay. So let's use it. Let's use Hydra. Okay, then let's say I know the username. Okay, I'll be just using small l, and I'll be just using username over here. Okay, let's say I don't know the username. Even I want to brute force the username with the word list. Okay, you can use this word list, whichever in this directory. Similar way, you can use capital P to crack the passwords, and you can give the password list. Okay, then you can give the IP address where you wanted to perform this. Okay, and you can give the service. Okay, so it'll just read these files. Okay, and you can see there is only one server, and okay, and there are totally 7 username list and 8 password list. So it will just basically perform the permutations and combinations. Okay, and it will check it. And you can see 0 passwords, 0 valid password fonts, because there is no right username and right password. in those files. Okay, let's say what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna add a right username or right password. Okay, this is my password actually. Okay, this is my password. Okay, I'm just gonna use this password. So same thing, Hydra. Okay, I know the username. Let's say I have done the information gathering, and I'm just using this password file, which has a real password too. And okay, the server. Okay, so it's gonna check it now, but still it's saying 0 passwords found. Okay, because here it is not capital S, it's small s. You can see within a second when you give the right username, it just compared with the password file. Okay, and it has given this is a password. This is a password. Got it. Similar way, even you can use like SSH, because the defaultly it will be used the system passwords only. You can say I got the SSH passwords also. So he will use this kind of tools. Okay, instead of this our word list. Okay, he will use any word list from the internet. Okay, by enumerating the usernames, and he'll be targeting on the servers. So when he get the right username and right password, he will use the clients like Putty or something like that. Okay, then he will try to log in into their system, right? So I'll just show you how we can able to log in. Let's say FTP, then the IP address of the server where you want to log in. Okay, let's say I'm just using the same username and same password. You can see login successful. Now you can able to access all the files from the remote system, Ubuntu. Okay, similarly, he will log in into SSH. Yeah.
Sir, we will get admin privileges.
So depending on the user account which we are penetrating.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now you can see I got Sai user. See, I have logged in into SSH. I just got the Sai user. If in case if you could have penetrated the admin account, then you could have got the admin access. Okay, depending on account where you are penetrating, it will be different. Right? If I type who am I, it will just give us Sai. You are not the root. Right? I am into Ubuntu machine. Okay. Sorry. Say Ubuntu machine. Then you can check the IP address. You'll be having all the access for the files and other stuff. Got it. This is how they'll be doing. Even we can do it with the help of Nmap NS scripts also. You can go to user share Nmap scripts ls. Okay, from this you can grip it out. Let's say SSH. So under the SSH, you have brute.nsc. Okay, this is a brute force thing. You can just copy this. Then you can write the command like nmap for sudo nmap -p. I want to attack on port number 22 on this particular server. Okay, with this script. Okay, that's it. So it's just gonna use all the default usernames and passwords which are with the nmap tool, and just gonna submit it. Okay, once the attack is submitted, once the attack is completed, okay, if something is matching, it will give you the right username and right password. Okay, I'm not continuing this because it will take very long time. Even you can do with the MSF console auxiliaries also. As I told you, auxiliaries can help us in many ways, helping kind of modules which even help us to perform the brute force attack or dictionary attack. Like this is basically a dictionary attack where we have given the word list and we are comparing with this and with the help of the tools, right? So I'll show you a couple of methods. Okay, if something is not working, then you may go with the other one, okay, because not everyone will use the same methods to uh, crack it. So here we have an MSF console. So inside the MSF console, you can just search with SSH_login. There is an auxiliary. Okay, you can see there is an auxiliary called SSH_login. Even similar way, you can search for FTP scripts. There are so many. Maybe you can search with FTP login to. Of course, you have FTP login to. Maybe you can search with any service like SMB login script, or you can search with a VNC login script. Even you can search with HTTPS or HTTP. Okay, so you have all the scripts over here. You can just use it. So let me just use now search SSH login. All are similar only. Okay, so from here you can just use the first one, okay, which is 0. Then go with the show options to check what all the available options are there, right? So first of all, let's give our host, okay, where you want to attack. Set our host IP address of the target and our port. That is done. Okay, it's already there. Then stop on success false. So whenever it finds right username and right password, and it's not going to stop the attack. After comparing with all the usernames and passwords, then it's gonna stop it. So to stop this attack, whenever it finds the right username and right password, you have to just keep this in a stop on success true. So let's just use set stop on success true. Then threats, okay, just keep it defaultly 1. Then even you can give username, okay, password. Otherwise, you can give the password list and username list. Okay. So let's just use set pass_file. Then you can give the file location home Kali P. Okay, under that you have username list. Similar way, you can use home Kali P password list. Okay. Then if you want to see how this attack is happening in the background, even you can enable the verbose information also. Set verbose row and go with the show options to check all the details have been added or not. Okay, then let's give exploit. So automatically it's just gonna use the first username in the first list and second username in the second password over there. It's just gonna compare it. The first username in the first list with second word list passwords. Okay, it's just gonna compare it. And whenever it finds the right username, okay, it's gonna open a session with that. Okay, and the attack is gonna be stopped. Okay, so in this case, it's not gonna give the right username and right password because because there is no right username in the list. Okay, so let's go there. Mm, let's just use this another terminal. Okay, then let's just open the username list and add the right username. Save it. Anyway, password name is already there in that. And now you can exploit it. You have to wait. Okay, and it's very very slow comparing to Hydra. So Hydra, by this time it could have given the username and passwords because it's very faster tool comparing to Nmap or Metasploit auxiliaries or any other tool. Okay. Clear, guys? Still, you have any doubts or any questions for me?
Sir,
So can you suggest some like basic like the try hack me or anything like that? Any basic that program so that we could like try to start doing these things. Not the advanced one, like the basic stuffs to learn.
Um,
Any website where to learn these things, like virtual boxes where we can download and try to do that, do the enumeration and all these stuffs.
yeah, TryHackMe is the best one I can say. There, guess you'll be having everything from the basic to advanced. It's all about mm, reading blogs.
Okay.
Take the topic and start reading it. Start building your technical skills in a way. Even you will be having something called uh, cheat sheets, okay, to save your time or to remember these all the commands. Uh, have you heard about Red Team Field Manual anytime?
No.
no.
Okay, maybe you can download that Red Team Field Manual book. It contain all the commands of you know different tools and techniques which we can use in our day-to-day activities.
Okay.
Okay, so here this is the right one. The session is open. Here is a session. Let's go and take the session 1. Here we are inside the system. Yeah. Okay. Uh, Anything else?
So for Medusa also same command like hide now, it's a different method. It's a different command.
Okay. See, just type Medusa. It'll give you all a bunch of options, right? You can read these options and you can fire it up.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope you guys have not confused so far. Okay, if you guys are confused, maybe I can stop the session here. Okay, you just try all these commands. Okay, and learn all these tools, whatever we have explored today. Maybe I'll show you this passive online attacks like sniffing, other stuff. Okay, offline attacks tomorrow. Or if you say like go ahead and explain, of course I'll just go ahead and start explaining all the other remaining things also. Totally depending on you guys. I don't want to stress you much.
Could you share that Windows ISO file?
Oh my God. Yeah, I'll try to. I'll try to give you the link today.
Okay.
Maybe you can download. Really, I'm very much busy when I didn't remember that until you today, remind me. Today
Okay.
anyway, I just note down it. Okay, and I'll try to share you.
Okay. Could you share your contact number? Okay, I will call you. Otherwise, oh, I will remain.
No worries. Okay, I'll share you anyway. Don't worry. Tomorrow I'll share you.
Okay.
Regarding the previous topic.
Yeah.
So my friend has a public IP address, but he's not in this state only. So can we able to get into that piece?
So if he has a vulnerabilities, of course you can able to.
It's the same method, sir. Like from that blue.
No. Bad blue is one of just technique, okay, which I have shown you. But there are thousands of vulnerabilities regarding the different types of vendors and products. Okay. So in that way, you have to explore. It's not only, it's just a method, okay, which I have shown you to understand how an attacker can able to enter or penetrate with the help of the vulnerabilities. The vulnerabilities could be many. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just want to check with you guys. Can we prepone this class from tomorrow? I mean to say time, like 8 to 10.
Sir, actually, I have my like night shift, so I have like till 7 I would be in my shift. So if the time is like postponed, it is fine. Like prepone, it would be difficult for me, sir, because after 7 I need to again wait till 10 because it's from 10 to 7 my shift.
10 to 7.
Like night 10 to 7 morning.
Morning. Okay.
If you postpone the class, it is fine. So like if it is not a problem for you.
Okay,
Is
12
it
to
only
2?
for 1 day? Is it only for 1 day or?
No, it's for a week or more than that. Because, today itself, some of the meetings have scheduled to me in between 10:30 to 11. So I'm planning to either prepone or postpone this class, like in terms of like maybe 8 to 10 or 12 to 2.
So 12 to 2 is okay for me.
For me also, sir.
Others.
12 to 3 is fine.
Yeah, this week I have no issue, no problem.
So, like, Serena, are you there?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it. What is
So
Yeah.
12 to 2 will be the training. That's what is
Serena, like,
discussed.
12 to 2.
Yes, I
Yeah.
just got it.
Now we are
From
logging in.
tomorrow, is it?
We are logged in 11, right?
Yeah. So tomorrow you'll be logging at 12
Tomorrow.
o'clock. All right. So all the students are available tomorrow for 12 to 2.
12 to 2.
All of you. Ayush, David, Johnson,
Yeah, ma'am.
Kalyan, Manu,
Yes.
Yes,
Nanda
ma'am.
Kumar, Naveen, Nivedita, Regish.
Yeah,
I have
yes,
a
ma'am.
coaching. Ma'am, I have an
Yeah,
online
I'm available.
coaching from my college. I can't able to attend the classes on 8
I don't know
because
who is
my
talking right now.
exams. Ma'am, Ayush.
Ayush. Yeah, Ayush.
Ma'am, I have a online classes of my college, so I have to attend these classes first because my attendance will write down there for in the absence of the online classes.
12 to 2, you're not available.
Hello. We're sending you the new link. Hello. For the Python. Can you hear me? So, how many students are joining in the training?
What is the final timing on which you are scheduling the right now ongoing classes?
I'll share you the link.
Yes.
12 to 2.
12 to 2 we are talking about is for the online class only.
No,
Okay, you give me a link.
then it's okay, ma'am. To do you said before that 8 now.
No.
It will be
Okay,
12
It's
to
not
2
12
8
in
to
the
10, it's a
afternoon.
12 to 2.
Hello. BA.
Okay, 12.
Okay. All right. All right. You have any questions, Sai? Anything you want to address?
And what time is the Python with data?
No, I don't have anything. That's what I want to confirm. So if it is fixed, so from tomorrow, I'll be logged in by 12.
Okay, done. No worries. We can do that. Thank you. Thank you so much. The link would be same for all of you. So 12 o'clock is what we're supposed to join. Okay. Thank you, Sai.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Fine. So, let's join tomorrow from 12. Okay, 12 to 2. And we'll continue the rest of the, attacks, like passive online attacks. Tomorrow, I'll show you how do we perform sniffing attack and man-in-the-middle attacks. Okay, and different types of, attack techniques. Okay. So any questions here?
Yes, sir, on that day I have tried the same method, but in Nessus also it's not showing. So can you just do that?
See, I actually didn't get it, your question, Kalyan.
Yes, in Windows 10 I have downloaded the Bad Blue, sir,
Okay.
and I have run in the Nessus
Okay.
with the IP address to check the vulnerabilities and exploits.
Okay.
It's showing that it's totally in blue color, like it's total 24 vulnerables are there. It's showing totally in
Okay.
blue color. Yeah.
Because the firewall is enabled, okay, which is not allowing to go Nessus to identify the vulnerability. So maybe you have to disable the firewall and fire the Nessus.
In Windows 10, sir, which I have tried to get into that.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, okay, so once I'll try with that.
Okay. Fine, guys. Then okay. Maybe we can wind up the session if in yeah. Fine, guys. Bye. We'll connect tomorrow at 12.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
bye.
sir.
Okay, sure. Bye.
Bye.
thank you all for joining. We are winding up the session for now. If you have any questions, I'm leaving my contact number here in the message. Please feel free to call me, right? You can reach us on our landline number as well. Or you can simply send us any queries to the below mentioned email. All right. Thank you, all of you. Thanks for joining. See you tomorrow. Let's join tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.